But how exactly does it work, the data science? I mean, like, if we could like explain a little bit of the process involved
Yeah,
within.
sure. We can talk about the data science framework. Like it's like the
Okay.
process that any data scientist use to work with data.
Okay.
So we use this acronym that is awesome. It sounds like awesome.
Yes.
So it's obtain data, scrub data, explore data, model data, interpret results.
I know this is everywhere, data science, and I would like to know a little bit more. Is it worth it?
As I told you at the beginning, data is the future of business. So any business in the world is pointing in that direction. That means that more jobs are be open for
Yes,
data science.
yes,
So the
for sure.
opportunities are limitless for data science.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Atlantean podcast. My name is Laura Rojas, and as always, it is a pleasure for me to be here. Today, we will discuss data science, and we will use a practical case to explain it better. We invited Cristian Rodriguez, our senior data analyst and IT project manager, to join us. Cristian will be highlighting the importance of this trending concept and its incredible applications. Welcome, Cristian. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you for having me here.
Well, Cristian, before we start, or to start, I would like you to please explain us what is exactly data science.
Well, before we start, I would like to get this into the mood.
Okay, okay.
So, has ever happened to you that when you get into your phone, when you get home or when you wake up in the morning, that you open your social media apps and for some reason you see suggestions like ads of things that you have talked the day before or something. For example, yesterday, I unlocked my phone when I woke up and I wasn't using my glasses. And the first thing I saw on Facebook when I opened it is, the A laser surgery.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's basically because the face recognition to unlock my phone, so that I was not using my glasses. That's what I am thinking that is, but it's just like kind of scary. It's like dark
It is.
magic behind, but
It
actually those are suggestion systems that use Facebook, Wayfair, Spotify, Google. The most recent one that was very cool was the Spotify one when it was suggesting you what kind of music would you like to hear. Those are suggestion systems. But suggestion systems are enclosed, are the result of a data analysis process.
Okay.
Data science is a process that studies data to extract meaningful insight to organizations and use principles and practices from mathematics, statistics, artificial intelligence, and computer engineer to analyze big data sets. That's basically what is data science.
So we see data science every day, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay. Beside this that you just explained to us, does it have another applications, the data science?
Well, actually, data science has a lot of applications in today's world. Basically, what is trending right now is machine learning and artificial intelligence. It has turned very popular. Those apps that create are based on text that you put into the system.
Yes.
That's artificial intelligence. That is the result of a machine learning model. But there are other useful applications. For example, diagnose disease or prevent financial fraud. Those kind of things. The thing is that in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 years, we have collected 90% of the data that the world has today. So in a short period of time, we have collected 90% of the data that we have today, because in today's life, we use technology everywhere. We use our phone, tablets, computers. We need to use technology for living now. Back in the future, we didn't have to use technology, so there was no way to collect all that amount of data that now we are able to.
Yes, for sure. And it has changed everybody's life. We can't live without it. That's for sure. What are the benefits for all the people who is watching us today and listening to our podcast? What would you say are the benefits of using data science in a business?
Well, in order to understand the benefits of data science, it's important to understand that data science, the purpose of data science is to answer some questions. For example, what had happened in the past, we can analyze historical data, so we can identify some trends on the data. For example, we have a peak of sales or any product or any service at a specific period of time, like a season, let's say summer, winters, for example. That's called descriptive analysis. And then we have the diagnostic analysis, that is why this happened. So we already saw that we have an increase on sales on winter. Let's say that we are a cloud company, like so in winter we had an increase on sales. Why? Because it's getting colder and we sold more of jackets and all these kind of things. Yeah. Then we have the predictive analysis. So now we have analyzed the historical data. We know why those patterns had happened, and now we can predict when will happen again. So now that we know what had happened, why had happened, and when will happen, now we can use the data in order to have different benefits for a business. That's the prescriptive analysis. So for example, for a business, it's beneficial to have something working in data, because it will help you to identify patterns, and you can also optimize your product or services on real time. You have a continuous process of optimization of your operation.
Of course.
That will result in the outcome that is your product or your service.
Better outcomes for the company, of course.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's very interesting. And Cristian, my next question, once that you already explained some of the benefits, because I bet they are a lot, could you explain to us how I mean, like you already explained the overall, but how exactly does it work, the data science? I mean, like if we could explain a little bit of the process involved within.
Yeah, sure. Well, we can talk about the data science framework. Like it's like the process that any data scientist use to work with data.
Okay.
So we use this acronym that is awesome. That reading it sounds like awesome. Like the word awesome, that's where
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's obtain data, scrub data, explore data, model data, interpret results. So in obtain data is to get the data. Like with data is nothing more than tables that each row of data is a unique record, and each column of data is a property of that record.
Okay.
So you can obtain the data from inside your organization, or it could be historical or could be current data.
Okay.
You can obtain it from your CRM systems, like the system that your company is using, or you can even buy data from third parties. So the first step is obtain the data. After you have obtained the data, you have to scrub the data. This meaning that you have to clean the data. You have to standardize the data. So for example, when you get databases, you need to give format to the columns. For example, if you have a date column that doesn't have the format, you have to give it the format.
Okay.
Or if the text has spelling errors, you have to correct them. Or if there you have full name and then you have to separate first name from last name. That's scrubbing data and cleaning and optimizing and standardizing data. After you do,
so that means optimizing the data when you clean it, organize it, and have it like everything set.
Yeah, because there are a lot of factors that can make the database a kind of literally. For example, it's very important, for example, to take out outliers. Outliers are those data that are out of the normal trend of the data. For example, it's something from the statistic. If it's more than two standard deviation, more or less two standard deviations. It meaning that if you have an statistics of the companies that sells X product, and you have just one company that is far away in the top selling, that's an outlier, and that outlier can influence
Influence.
in the data in a negative way.
Oh,
So you have to
okay.
take out them. So you could have, it could happen that you can have incomplete data that you have to make the way to have a more standardized and optimal data.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that's scrubbing data, and then you have to explore the data. In exploring data is when you have to find the trends, the numbers, like the median, average, try to identify periods of time. That's when you use statistics on data. So you are trying to analyze what the data can tell you.
Okay.
That's exploring the data. Now, when we have explored the data and we know how it's conformed, we can create models. Models meaning, for example, that you can create, for example, software to model the data. So modeling the data is more like a mathematical process.
Okay.
For example, in machine learning, you can use association, classification, or clustering in order to feed a machine learning model that will learn the patterns, and it will keep learning. So it will, every time that it has more data, and more data will give a more accurate result. But modeling the data is basically creating the algorithm or the model to try to give a prediction or to give a more accurate insight to the organization.
Got it.
But this doesn't work if you don't know how to interpret the data.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is also one of the most important parts of the data analysis of data science, because you have to be able to present that data in a way that people that are not data science can interpret.
Of course,
they need to be able to see the data and to, in a very fast and efficient way, make decisions based on that. So that's more or less the process of data science.
Okay. Thank you so much for that explanation. I would like to ask you, well, since you are already in the field of data science, and I know some of the people or many of the people who are watching us today and listening to us today may be thinking about pursuing a career in data science. Would you say, is it worth it? I mean, because I know this is everywhere, data science, and I myself, I would like to know a little bit more. Is it worth it? Because I know I bet it's kind of hard.
As I told you at the beginning, data is the future of business. So any business in the world is pointing in that direction. So if every business in the world is pointing in that direction, that means that more jobs are be open for data science. So the opportunities are limitless for data science. So you have to like it. You need a lot of skills for that, but it's not like it's not that I am diminishing other professions or other careers, but we have like traditional careers, like myself, like I'm an architect. I will talk about that later. But I'm an architect. That's a traditional career, but the future is not that. It's data technology. I believe that.
Okay, and if you would like to become a data scientist, what skills you will need to develop in order for you to achieve that goal?
Well, there are technical and non-technical skills.
Okay.
For example, in the technical skills, you need a lot of science knowledge. For example, in statistics, machine learning, deep learning, mathematics, coding, how to analyze big data. But in the other side, there are the non-technical skills that almost every professional needs to have.
Okay.
That is, for example, have a strong knowledge of the business that you are working in, or have very strong communication skills. Remember that we have to present data to stockholders, to shareholders, so they can make decisions. Have kind of like a data intuition. Like if you need to develop that skill, is nothing that you will learn on college, just experience will
Experience
give you
based,
that.
yes.
And always you have to be in mind that you have to have a problem solving mind.
Okay.
Your mission is to solve problems with data.
That
I
sounds
think
very
those are
interesting.
the technical and no technical
So
skills.
it's a very solution-oriented career.
Yeah. So the basis of any process that we start is to define the problem and bring a solution for
A
that problem.
solution for that problem. Oh,
Mhm.
great. Sounds great.
Yeah.
And I mean, like talking salaries, projections, because you already told us, I mean, like it has like big like growth, and it will have, of course, an interesting growth in the next years. But do you have information regarding maybe salaries or that
Yeah,
projection?
yeah. Actually, this is taken from the Allnet Online. That is an organization that keeps all the professions statistics, and it's like a reference for the whole nation when
Okay.
talking about any of the careers that are available in the market.
Okay.
But for example, this organization tell us that the median wage for 2022 was 100K per year, so is a very good
Nice.
salary. And the projected job openings from 2021 to 2031 are 1,300 new job openings in the market.
Okay.
So this represents a 36% of increase. That is more than the average.
More than the average,
The
yes.
projected
It's
growth
a
of
huge
any other
projected
profession.
growth.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, and like we told you guys at the beginning, we will use a practical case to explain a little bit better this, this amazing subject. But before that, as you were saying, and I know, Christian, because, well, we work together, I know you have a different background, and I would
Yeah.
like you to tell us, please, a little bit of that background that you have.
Yeah, I think this is very useful for people because I think this will open the minds for other people in other professions that they can come into the data science or data analyst
They could
world.
switch.
Yeah, they
Yes.
it's not that I switch. They can complement their
Oh,
professions
okay,
with
okay.
this. It's not necessary that you can be 100% from high school to a master degree on data. You can have other professions and specialize in this and work with it.
Okay, so it could enhance, actually, what we could say
Yeah.
that it could enhance the path, the career
Yeah,
path that you already have?
Of course.
Okay.
Because
okay.
remember, data is used in all the industries.
Yes,
So if
you're
you
right.
know the industry, you will know better the data. So for example, I was graduated from college in architecture. I am an architect with a major in construction. I also was a firefighter. I served for 10 years as a firefighter and a rescuer. I was in earthquakes and all kinds of disasters as a volunteer firefighter and rescuer.
Okay.
I also graduated here in Atlantis University with the MBA in the MBA with a major on business intelligence and data analytics. That's basically my background. So it's kind of I understand when people can say what has to be anything of this, what is the relationship between
Yes,
all of this. But for example, I oriented my project in a way that I can use all these areas of knowledge and I can create something with data. For example, in architecture, I have the knowledge of all the construction and designing framework for new developments. On the firefighter user, I have the experience on the knowledge of international standards and procedures for managing or attending disasters, for example. In the MBA, you always have to be a business-oriented person, so you can manage projects or you can keep the project running. It's a business.
Yes.
So, and in data science, my knowledge in data science will allow me to process the data that I need to give me the expected outcome.
Okay.
So basically, these four areas, I want them to be combined and to develop my project. So that's what I want to show you. Like, you could be a doctor and be related to data science. Actually, the health industry is the industry that more uses data because that's the way that can determine what's going to happen. Or for example, when COVID came, all the trends that were identified in the past, they went down because a new pandemic happened. But can we predict the next pandemic? Because we are going to have another one. We don't know when.
Yes.
But maybe with data we could kind of know when it's coming back. So
like you were saying at the beginning, if we know the past, we can analyze that data in order to predict.
Yeah, COVID is not the only pandemic that we have in the world. We have a lot of
several.
So we with all that data, it's like weather is analyzing historical data of past of thousands or millions of days, and they measure temperature, precipitations, and everything. That's the way they can predict today is raining at 3 p.m. It's just analyzing historical data and trying to predict what is going to happen, because tomorrow we'll have the same conditions that these days in the past.
Okay.
So that's the way data predicts.
I never thought about it. Yes, of course.
Yeah, it's not like, it's like the meme, like, it's dark
like
magic.
I can see the future, yes.
Something like that. But yeah, that's the way data works.
So what you're telling us basically is that all the background that you have, your career, this experience of being a fireman, I mean, like feed your project. I mean, like that make you come out with this project that you're presenting us.
Let me show you what is the scope of my project. So we will understand when I try to establish the problem. Okay. So my project is to design, create, and implement a database application that enables an identification and assessment of threats, vulnerabilities, and risk of natural or non-natural disasters.
Okay.
First, I want to implement this in Miami-Dade County as a pilot program, but the objective is to expand into the entire nation and maybe, why not, make it worldwide.
Of course.
So based on my areas of knowledge, I want to orient my project in that way. I want my project to point that way. So I decided to do this project because there are a lot of organizations, a lot of websites that can give you the data about natural disasters. For example, and that's the way you get to the first step of the process, obtaining the data.
Okay.
But before that, we have to establish the problem. And for example, here we can see a timeline of the natural disaster that had happened in Miami-Dade. I just took some of them because people keep them on the mind all the time. For example, in 2022, the tropical storm Elsa, in 2021, the Surfside building collapsed.
Yes, I remember that.
And the interesting thing is that we have tornadoes, hurricanes, and others like severe freeze seasons, for example. So all those natural disasters create losses, like economic losses and even life losses.
Yes.
For example, this is the cause of the 21st century natural disasters. For example, in 2010, we almost get to $600 billion in losses for natural disasters. And if we get more specific, for example, the losses with hurricanes, for example, Katrina in 2005 cost us almost $70 billion in economic losses, like when,
every
tangible, like material assets,
like highways, houses, everything.
Yeah, but we got the losses and everything, but the most important is, for example, these are the number of fatalities due to natural disasters in the United States in 2021, and we lost. You can see how many lost, but just with winter storm and cold waves, we lost 230 lives. That's the most important thing, preserve the human life.
Of course.
So this is the problem, how to create a tool that can help to prevent these kind of losses.
Okay.
That's what the tool wants, that's the tool's goal.
Okay.
To prevent these losses.
Okay. And you, specifically talking about this project or your project, where did you get this data? I mean, like if you want to develop a project like this, you for sure have to know where do you get the data that you need, the data that you need.
Yes, actually, that's the first step. Where to
Okay.
obtain the data? We need to get the databases necessary to develop
Okay.
the models, right?
Okay.
So we have public access to the data. For example, the Florida Building Code. That's a public document that will give us how are the standards of construction here in Florida, for example. That's
Okay.
one of them. Then we have several organizations, like I told you, that keep a tracking and a database of natural disasters. All these sources are free and public, so we can use them to feed our centralized database in order to process the data. Entonces, after we gather all the data, then we have to match it, clean it, standardize it.
The awesome project.
The awesome project.
Yes.
So after you gather all the data, then you are able to create models, and then when you create models, then you can have the outcomes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now you mentioned outcomes. What do you expect, or what are your expectations with your project? I mean, like, what do you think the outcomes will be?
Well, and the goal of this project is to create an application, a website or a mobile application that will give all the information related based on that geographical exact position. So, for example, you will be able which natural disaster has hit that place, in what year, what were the consequences, what were the general damage of the structures around that area. So you will have a way to prevent that specific place give you losses, because you know with anticipation how the structure needs to be prepared to face these kind of disasters.
Oh.
Yeah, for example, here we have storms, we have hurricanes, but let's say in California they have wildfires. You know, there are different kind of disasters based on the geographic position of what you are analyzing. So that's the main purpose of the application. Give you not only the historical data analyzed, also give you, okay, if you are in this exact place, this is like, here you will have a flood, for example. So if you want to develop something here, or if you are buying something here, or you're planning to construct something here, these are the standards of the industry or the building code that you need to be implemented in order to be a safer place. So that is one the database want to. That's the project's goal, to give that important insight and suggestions, and also this will end in, for example, having safer investments. For example,
I was thinking exactly about that.
Yeah.
For the investors, that will be like a wonderful insight for make better decisions.
Yeah, we are in a country that investing in real estate is something that everyone wants to do. So
Yes.
why, it's like when you buy a used car, you can use the application that tells you if the car has a crash, an accident, and then you can make sure that the car is in good condition. Why not to have that for a house or a building, or for just like a piece of terrain that you are planning in the future
To develop something. Yes.
So are safe in investments, and you can reduce the risk of something to happen to your investment. You can reduce the risk of having not only economical losses, but something happening to your dear ones.
Yes,
you know?
of course.
Maybe why not? This can be used at the end. I hope someday this tool can be used to lower insurance rates, for example.
Of course, it could be.
Yeah.
Makes
We know
total
that
sense.
if your house has hurricane windows, you know that the insurance is gonna come down. Why not to think in the future that this app will be the standard. If you qualify with all these checklists that this app give you, we're gonna lower your insurance rate,
Yes,
because
for
it's
sure.
a safer house. Is less risk that something happened, for example. Always thinking about preserving human lives. That's the first purpose of this app. Having all these tools, like building codes, historical data, forecasts, having it in one place so people can access it. My dream is to be an open
Source?
app. No, not open source. It could be an open source, but open source meaning like other developers can integrate
Okay.
into the app. It's not be like free for the public.
Okay.
I don't want to create like a pay app. I just want to create. My goal is that this app is the standard for new investments or new projects, for example.
And I'm sure it will be.
I hope so.
Well, Cristian, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to add everything.
No,
Anything? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I am a little nervous, but
It's
I
okay.
try to do my best. Thank you for having me
No,
here.
thank you. Thank you so much, Cristian. And thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. I will see you in the next Atlantean podcast. Bye-bye.